Well, hello Breakfast Club. I hope you're enjoying your coffee. I've just gone and rewatched all of the videos from this week, and I don't have a vast amount to add directly to them. With regard to kids, Alice and I, that was Mrs. DLC, and I don't want children, aren't planning on children. So that's not something, beyond the fact that it's just not something that we, particularly feel a desire to do. I don't have much to add to it. Similarly, with the discussion about abuse, fortunately, it's not something I've really had experience of. So there's nothing I can really add to that isn't trite. But I do want to pick up on a couple of things from JJ's video yesterday on depression, and about a friend of hers who is financially in a good position and so on. The only thing I'd say is, not knowing the situation in detail, I can't massively comment, but as the saying goes, walk a mile in someone else's shoes first, because then, well, you'll be a mile away and they won't have any shoes. It seems almost paradoxical to think that the wealth can worsen a condition like depression, but it's not inconceivable. It's not completely, crazy to think that. If one of the things that I've found, I've spoken before about having sort of some mental health problems over the years, one of the things that I found helps deal with them is having structure, having a sort of fairly structured week or whatever. If you don't have to do that, it can be very easy to slip into very bad habits. And so I can understand why you would find it frustrating to look at from the outside, but yeah, mental health is a strange one, and people deal with it in different ways. Some people like to talk about it a lot. Some people don't talk about it at all. It's something that in the past I've been very upfront about, and that was my way. We're sort of dealing with it at one point. Now, partly because I'm doing very much better than I have sometimes in the past. It's not something I massively feel the need to talk about. It's not something I'm ashamed of. It's something I'll mention if it comes up. But people deal with it in different ways at different times. But what I really wanted to pick up on was I think pretty much JJ the way you opened up, which was I think you said a friend on Twitter, and that just got me thinking, because there's quite a few people I know who I actually only know online. I've not at all met with them in face to face in real life, and that's very strange, because you can still form close, meaningful relationships with people over the interwebs. But the things I'm just thinking back, I was just thinking there are a few people I can think of who I used to talk to a lot online, and now I don't. And I suppose I was thinking it's increasingly very much similar to if you like real life, that you make friends with people, you drift apart, you drift back together. In the same way, if you can make friends, a friendship will form often if you've got shared interests, or you're in geographically in the same place, physically in the same place. If you no longer have that, it can be hard to keep a friendship going. And I wonder if it's something similar online as well, as interests change and so on. Like I used to know a lot of people around the quote-unquote atheist community, some of whom I still speak to pretty regularly, but a lot I just don't. And that, if you told me that at the time, that would have kind of surprised me. I'd assumed that there would be people who would be a part of my life in some way for a long period of time going forward, and it hasn't panned out like that. But again, that's I think similar to Meat Space, I sort of had a friend from university who I saw came up on my Facebook. Add this friend, and it was I assume at some point, we hadn't spoken for a while. They'd taken me off Facebook. Not the end of the world, but it was a little bit. Oh, okay then. I don't know. It's strange how these these relationships build and develop. I mean, it could be that without Facebook, I wouldn't have known. We'd have run into each other at a school reunion at some point, and that would have been that. But I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's a bit of a ramble, but it's just this. It's like, well, it's not that new anymore, but you form friendships or relationships online, but it seems they work just the same as relationships in meat space. And that's, I don't know, I remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, online friendships aren't quote unquote real," but it seems to me that they're just as strong or as fragile, or need as much nourishment as relationships in real life. And something as simple as changing your browsing habits, which channels you look at on YouTube, which Facebook groups you post in, just changing who you interact with will make a difference. Anyway, complete shift. I wanted to ask a question. I'm once again trying to lose weight, and I, as part of that, am trying to walk 10,000 steps a day, which for me it's not very much. It works out at something on the order of about 4.5 miles. So it's not much. It's sort of an hour and 40 minutes walking, but it's something. And I've got one of those. I've got on at the moment a Jawbone to keep track of that. I've always liked listening to podcasts, but now I'm just walking more just to get myself moving. I've got more time to listen to podcasts, and I keep finding that I've run out of stuff to listen to. And we think I've got, as well as commutes here and there, I've got a lot of hours in the week to fill. Now, there's a few I listen to pretty regularly. There's one, the Rachel Maddow show has a podcast that I listen to. There's the Ezra Klein show, which is a new one where Ezra Klein of Vox.com just interviews somebody. That's very interesting. There's the another podcast, basically a policy and politics podcast called The Weeds from Vox. I also listen to In Our Time, which is a discussion program on Radio 4 where they pick a topic each week and discuss it. I also listen to some board gaming and whatever podcasts. People might know No Direction, which does Pathfinder, and The Dice Tower, which does board gaming. The other one I really like, although I'm a little bit behind on, is Welcome to Night Vale, and a new one they've started, Alice Isn't Dead. What I wanted to ask was, what podcasts do you listen to? Are there any obvious podcasts that you think I'd enjoy, general nerd / politics nerd, or just something interesting? I would love to know. Anyway, I'm Landon Cole. Insert random song lyric here.